Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Femme Force Podcast. My name is Rachel Paskman, and I am your host. And today I am joined by one of my good friends, Jessie, who is going to talk about her entrepreneurial experience from going from working corporate gal to mom of two to charcuterie queen. So, Jessie, thank you for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So, can you tell the guests just a little bit about your background? We met in college, so shout out Alpha Zeta Delta sorority life. And from there, you graduated, you went on to corporate girly, and then you took a different kind of path from being a mom into entrepreneurship. So, how did you get to that point that you're at now?
Yeah, after I graduated college, I kind of was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I had always had this love for event planning, so I got a corporate job doing that, and it was really amazing, and I learned a lot. I was able to do it in New York, which is like such a fantastic city to be event planning. And then when we got pregnant with my first daughter, or my only daughter, we decided to move back to Ohio and I became a stay-at-home mom. And then, having my son Henry, it was just like my brain started turning into mush, and I was trying to figure out my life and figure out what I wanted to do. And so I had always loved making charcuterie boards, and I had called my sister up one day and asked, "Hey, do you want to do this together?" She had event planning background as well, and she was also staying at home with her littles. So that's kind of like how it began. And so here I am 4 years into it, and it's been crazy and wild and fun.
It's an entire adventure, and your sister's in Denver, so this is almost a bi-coastal kind of business you've set up.
Yes, so it's we operate under the board. Charcuterie is our brand name, and we operate almost as franchises. I run my own business in Ohio, and she runs hers in Colorado. So it works out really well for us because I can manage my own workload on what I want to take on with what's going on in my life, and same with her. So her kids are in school full time and mine are not. So I do it, a little bit less, but it still works for the both of us. And it's really amazing that we can bounce ideas off of each other. And I didn't just start this small business on my own. I was able to have a little bit of help having my sister there.
Well, yeah, and then you can bouncing the ideas off of it. This is, I mean, it's such a creative field at the end of the day. It's still a business, but you're literally creating mango-shaped flowers and like all of these beautiful scapes that people, they're Instagram and Pinterest worthy. And you're one of the first board companies that really came out, doing this in like a corporate kind of setting. So how did you start thinking that you could turn this into a business instead of just like I'll make them for friends?
Yeah, so that's exactly how we started this business. We had just been making them for our own dinner parties that we were having at our house. If we had if I had a friend that bought a new home and I wanted to give them a gift, I would send them with a beautiful board and charcuterie. And so we kind of had been starting doing this, and then the pandemic hit, and it was like we thought it was the perfect time to start a shareable food company business. And it really wasn't. It was a little bit of a struggle then, but it was just, it kind of evolved from making them for our own parties to then putting them for gifts for friends. And then we started, dabbling in like who would actually buy these, and who would buy them from us, and what sets us apart from somebody else that's local that's been doing it for a few years. So it took us a long time to kind of figure all of that out. But we have made it, and it's been a really fun journey. And I'm glad I am able to do it with my sister.
I mean, that's so cool that it's also a family business, but you guys are able to do it separately. So, like you said, you can do this on your own schedule. And do you think that's a really important thing for moms that are trying to get back into the workforce? Like, we're not giving moms a lot of options when it comes to helping them come back to the workforce or to catering to their needs of being stay-at-home moms. Do you think that entrepreneurship was the window for you to be able to do it all?
Yes and no. I would say to be a one woman business owner, and I say that just for like my business in Ohio. I wear all of the hats. I'm dealing with the health department. I'm doing my marketing. I'm making the boards. I'm doing my shopping. I'm selling it. I'm doing my expenses. And that anyone who has their own business knows that it's sun up to sundown. It really took me a long time to kind of set, boundaries for my family. I mean, there were a lot of days where I'm like, hands up, I'm done, I'm not doing this anymore because it becomes so overwhelming. But when you're the only person running your business, it's all on you. So if you want to have it be a successful business, it's a full-time job. So I struggled a lot in the beginning, kind of maintaining that like work-life balance, but then I just started setting boundaries, and I just looked at it like the one thing that I struggled with a lot was I am creating these charcuterie boards for people to spend time with their families
Yeah.
when I'm taking time away from my own. So that kind of sunk in. And ever since then, I just was like, I closed down on Sundays. I shut down in the weekends in the summer. And I hope that my clientele stays with me and bears with me. But I think for the most part, people are understanding because they have children and they have life outside of, so I just feel like I'm still working on it, but but I've
Everyone.
come a long way. Yeah. So it's been hard, but it's been great.
And I mean, you've set certain hours and parameters for yourself. I know that like for the holidays, you only sell so many boards. And once you reach that amount of boards, you're like, I'm not making any more because you're able to clock in. That's how much time you're going to spend making this set amount of boards. When did you get to a place in the company where you were like, I have to set a limitation? And how did you know like it was time?
I think it was my like physical well-being because when you're standing and creating, I know it's not like hard labor, but it does have a toll on your body. Each board, we take so much time and effort and thought that goes into them. So it's not just an assembly line, especially during the holidays. Every board is different. Everything is different. So we do spend a lot of time on each person's charcuterie board. And so I just kind of had to figure out how many can I physically do in a day. I know my husband, he's been such a great advocate for like this business. He's been so supportive. And he wants me to take it to the next level, which is hire people. And I know that that would help during the holidays, be able to take on more. But I haven't really gone down that avenue yet because I'm so particular.
It's your baby, it's your name, it's
Yeah.
your third child there. So,
Yeah.
Charlotte,
And yeah, and I just feel like I know there are phenomenal like people who can do the same thing. Anyone can create a charcuterie board. The part I struggle with is if my name's going on it. I want to make sure that it's of the same quality. And charcuterie is not an inexpensive item. And so if I'm putting a product out, I want to make sure that the person receiving it is getting what they're paying for. So, yeah, so I'm still struggling with that, but hopefully one day I can grow it into a bigger business. But I need my kids to be a little bit bigger and older and before I do that.
put them on the assembly line then.
I
Chill.
know, I know.
Those hours, get those done. You feel like you ran into any challenges as a business owner that you were like, I didn't even realize this was going to happen. I'm just trying to start. You're like a little charcuterie business on the side of being a mom. And how did you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, so like I said, I had corporate event background, I had corporate everything background. And so the food industry is like the wild west, and so I had to learn everything. I had to learn what was a health department approved in Ohio and health department approved in Colorado, and it just every state is different, every county, every city is different. require as far as like licensing, and then you have insurance and a lot of that stuff. I spent hours and days trying to figure out like, how do I make myself licensed? How do I get myself licensed and insured to protect myself and also protect the end consumer? And I thrive on that side. I'm more of like the business side. So it's really nice that I have my sister who thrives on like the marketing and social media, and she has phenomenal ideas. So we worked really well together. But I've had a lot of people come ask me in different cities, like, how did you get started? And I just was like, it was just a lot of work, a lot of research. And I try to give guidance to people who want to start a charcuterie board business because I had none. And if I can help them out just a little bit to get them started, and, how to get, just something as simple as getting like your LLC or your tax ID number. And then most people don't know this, but you can't, certain states do not allow you to build charcuterie boards out of your kitchen in your own home. So you have to work out of a safe commercial kitchen space that's licensed through the county. And so a lot of that is just a learning curve. But then there are states
Yeah.
that you fall in that and you can work out of your own home, just as similar as like home bakers. But so it was a lot of work to get started. And I want to help people have these businesses because it has been so great for me and my family, and I want to be able to help them and not have them go through all the stress and, you know, everything that I went through in the beginning. So,
No,
yeah.
but it's such a smart idea. And also, like, when you get a seat at the table, you've got to pull more women up because
Yeah.
they're going to dominate it all. But you were
Yeah.
talking about the commercial kitchen. So you have a commercial space now. So can you tell us kind of how that grew into this phenomenal place that you have now in Dublin?
Yeah. So, I was looking for commercial kitchen space. So I had been doing it out of my home for a little bit because I wasn't sure if this business was even gonna, I just needed to do some research and see like, is it worth spending X amount of dollars on rental space? And will I be under? Will I not be able to like make the profits to pay for my monthly rent? So, my husband and I had purchased this commercial property. It was an old market built in the 1800s, and it was a really great space. It used to be an old bait and tackle store, and now it's transformed into this mother-daughter duo owned coffee shop. And there was a little room in the back, and it was in really, really rough shape. It was like, it's only 500 square feet. There was no floor. It was just like, I walked in, it was like, this is haunted. And I looked at it and I was like, this is perfect. This is perfect for me. And my little business. And so I was able to like redo it and literally down to the drywall. I mean, there was a hole in the floor. You could see to the basement. It was in bad shape, but now it is really in good shape. But I was able to, so my husband, when we started this business, he gave me a little bit of seed money to kind of like get going. And his big thing was don't spend any money within the first year. Like the first year, all the profits that are coming in, just put in a bank account and don't spend any money, which it was very difficult, but I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in 1 year. It's going to be great. And then I was able to pay for my commercial kitchen with cash. I didn't have to take a small business loan. And so when I walk in that kitchen every day, I look at it as like, I earned this. Like, this is from like my hard work and so I'm so proud of it. And I want that for so many other people. I want them to be proud. And, so as much of that year sucked that I couldn't spend any money coming in, I really, really valued that advice from him. And it was the best advice he had given me.
I mean, that's such good advice because look at you now. And I mean, it can only expand and it can only grow. And now that you have this brick and mortar, do you have visions for bigger things to franchise to other places or dream accounts you want to get, things like that?
Yeah, so I think my vision for what I want this to be is I would love a retail shop. My life right now, I cannot dedicate to a retail shop. I cannot be there 24/7. So until my kids are a little bit older, I don't think that that is, feasible right now. And then my sister has this dream of owning a charcuterie and wine bar. So eventually, hopefully that dream can come true. And, she would love to have that out in Colorado. And, maybe that's something that will make an appearance in Ohio. And maybe it's something that'll franchise later on. These small ideas can become something so big if you really want it and work hard for it. But yeah, so I don't know. It's just, yeah, I'm content right now. And I want it to
You've
stay.
already reached, like you've already reached creating the business and selling out. You sell out a lot. So like
Yeah.
that's the thing. And now you're in a brick and mortar, having your own kitchen. Like these are all feasible things.
Yeah. And it's really flattering when, like, after the holidays, I have people that are like, okay, put me on your calendar for next year because they know I only take a few spots, for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so that's really flattering that people trust us and trust me to like provide this food for them for their family gathering. So it's really nice.
Nice, because that's how they're going to be remembered. And do you feel like your marketing strategy is like very word of mouth, people telling other people are coming to these events?
Okay, so marketing is like not my strong suit. My sister is phenomenal. I could go off the grid at any moment. I have a hard time keeping up on social media and all of that stuff. So our business started word of mouth, and then now our business solely relies, not solely, but majority, it relies a lot on social media. And I would respond like days later when people would, ask us a question. But my sister's so good at it. She's answering people right away. She's keeping our social media pages current. And, I just can't. I'm too old. I can't keep up with like
It's hard.
the TikToks and yeah. So yeah, marketing is a big thing. My sister is really fantastic with it. So yeah, that's what our business relies on, just kind of keeping us in the know. And so yeah.
And that's hard because you have to also balance actually doing the business along with
Yes.
trying to market it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All the hats, every hat.
And
Keeping track of your mileage, keeping track of like your expenses, making sure the food that you're putting out on someone's board didn't get recalled 2 months ago. So it's just kind of like it's a lot. It's a lot of hats. So but it's so worth it.
I mean, to own something of your own and to have built it, you have to be so proud of that. And that's just, it's such a big accomplishment. When you're talking about like supplying your food and getting it and hopefully no recalls, but where do you get the majority of your products from?
So we have a couple distributors that we work with that, we're always looking for like, we always change our menu up every week, especially during different seasons. We're constantly sourcing seasonal flavors and that just about to roll out our fall menu. So we have a lot of like apple maple bacon jams and just really, really unique flavor combinations. So I shop a lot with some distributors, and then I also shop a lot at Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's has like a really, really awesome cheese like display, and there's always really cool flavors and seasonal items, and then also like your Costco's and stuff for more bulkier items. But yeah, it's honestly sometimes I'll just go into like a small little town and they have like a cheese shop, and I just like will pop in and see what they have and see if it's worth adding to our menu. So yeah, so I kind of shop around everywhere. There's certain things that I buy at different stores, but yeah, we're just still it should be a little bit more. We shouldn't be paying retail prices. But we're working on that. But it's hard to give up something that's, tastes
So
good.
good. Yeah. And I mean, it's a growing business. This is gonna, I mean, it's gonna flourish over the years. And soon people are gonna be coming to you being like, sell our product, sell our product.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be a great partnership. If you had to create your perfect bite though from the charcuterie board, what would that be?
Okay. So okay, I've got to give you a secret. So I'm not like a huge cheese fan, which would kill my business, but I don't love a lot of stronger cheeses. I typically stay with the white cheddars, the manchegos, like the simpler flavors. Um, but so my perfect bite would be a simple, like vintage white cheddar with some like sapressata and on like a toasted crostini drizzled with honey. Honey is like the one ingredient that I include on every single board because I think that pairs with everything. It creates a nice like sweet and salty and spicy if you're adding it with like a calabrese, which is like a spicier pork. I think if as long as you have honey and you drizzle it on it, that's my perfect bite. But
Yeah,
yeah,
these are everywhere.
yeah. So don't tell everybody that I don't like a lot of cheeses, but
Not
um, yeah. And I typically won't put cheeses on people's boards that are like super stinky, like in the blue cheese, because have you ever walked into like someone's kitchen and they have like blue cheese out on the counter, like on like a tray, and it's like the first thing that you smell and you're kind of like, oh, so unless it's a request, I typically don't add it just because I don't want people to be like, oh, your kitchen stinks. But
to
yeah,
accommodate normally more people for these boards.
yeah,
It's a vast variety of people, so it makes sense that you're like, what will people like?
yeah.
Scheme of greater things.
And that's the fun part of charcuterie because it creates this like it's like a social like gathering and like people go around it and they're like, oh my God, try this with this and this with this, or have you tried this? And so I just love it when people like respond back and give me feedback or like, oh my God, these are our perfect combinations. Please like give us more varieties of what we can try. And so I just love it when people give feedback and hear what they like.
And that's amazing. It's also just a living artwork. Like looking at these grazing boards, which are huge and for a vast amount of people, like it's just this beautiful landscape looking cheese, crackers, and fruits and meat. And like I really think it's a centerfold for so many, not just holiday parties, but corporate events, things like that. Like they're getting bigger and bigger in those industries.
Yeah, so it's really interesting what you can do to food to manipulate it to make it look a like a flower. So our signature that we are kind of known for is our mango flower, and we just take dried pieces of mango and we form them into like a rose shape, and they're so beautiful. They have this beautiful color of orange. They're so delicious to eat. So those are will be on every single board that we put out. It's kind of like our brand. It's kind of like what, if you were to put two charcuterie boards next to each other and one had the mango flower, you would know, oh, that's the board local. Like that's their board. So I've taught a couple classes where people are like, how do you even make a charcuterie board? Like, what are you doing? And I just go back to like elementary school art class,
Yeah.
and I talk about the color wheel. So
Um,
putting flavors and pairings aside because that's part of like what you need to be shopping for because you don't want to put something on a board that you're like, oh, what would this even go with? So putting that aside, if you shop for color, so you have like your primary colors and then you have your secondary colors and then you have your complementary colors. So like purple and orange are complementary colors of each other. So I try to put those two colors next to each other. So if I have my orange mango flower, I'll usually put it next to like a red or purple stack of grapes. So it's visually appealing to the eye. And then so it's as long as you assemble it that way and put colors that work together, you can create a beautiful thing. So a lot of like the meats are like cool, like warm colors. So you get a lot of like fleshy tones, which is kind of gross. But if you toss some like blueberries on there and some like green bay leaves, it will cool the board down and it'll just kind of soften it. And it's so visually appealing to like the eye. And it's just, so that's kind of what I teach people is like, if you're, after you get like your pairings, then do the colors.
That's so smart though. But like it's for something for everybody on there, which is nice. So you do it for these kind of parties or these kind of corporate events. If you had like a dream client to work for, who would that be?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I've been thinking about this because I feel like there was one award show recently. I think it was like the Grammys, and it's where all of the celebrities sit at a table, and there's like three or four to a table. And on this particular table for this Grammys, there was a individual like table charcuterie board. and it was on all the tables. And like I zoned in on it right away. I was like, oh my God, look at the charcuterie board. I'm like Googling who did this, what company did this. And it ended up being somebody just like me out in LA. And I started following her, and she just was like a normal Joe Schmo, like just, and her charcuterie was on at the Grammys. And I was like, that is incredible. So yeah, that's kind of like, obviously that's a far fetch and there's not a lot of award shows happening in Columbus, Ohio, but so yeah, that would be awesome.
You could totally do the Grammys or the Emmys or the Tonys or all those other award shows. I don't know the VMAs. Taylor Swift would love. Or
Yeah. Yeah. Also, one of our biggest wins this year that we had was we got reached out to we got reached out by Disney. Disney My Fairy Tale Weddings. So Disney has like an arm of their like big franchise that has a wedding and honeymoon side. And so you can get married at Disney, you can do a honeymoon at Disney, you can do all this. So it was their first year that they were doing these road shows where they were going city to city. And what they would do is they would send their sales reps out, and they would do it at a bridal salon, like a wedding gown shop. And so what would happen is they reached out to me and my sister, and there were two bridals, like boutiques that were in Columbus and Denver. And they're like, we would love you to do our food for the event. And it has to be very Disney. And it has to like, because what Disney does with their food is phenomenal. And so we were at their events, and they were like, this is amazing. It's the best that we've ever had. And it just was really awesome. We just couldn't believe it. We were like, Disney? Like at first when we saw the email come through, we just thought it was just like,
this is
I don't know. Yeah, we're like, this isn't real. And then the fact that it was like real in both locations, like the odds of that happening. So that was a huge collab for us and a huge win. And so it was really a really exciting time.
It just means the sky's the limit. Like when Disney reaches out to you and Disney compliments your work, that's a big deal. There is no hospitality like Disney hospitality. And I say that all the time. Those
I
cards
know.
are so clean and
Yes.
everybody's so nice and friendly. And those characters do not break no matter how hard you try. I've tried. So,
Yeah.
but like that's amazing. And I mean, I think that just means the sky's the limit. Like you're going to be doing so many more things. If Disney is like, you can use that as a credential. And
Yeah,
that's
that's awesome.
awesome. So to wrap up, I have one final question that I ask all of my guests. So if you could give one piece of advice to your 16-year-old self, what would that be?
Oh, goodness. Let me think. I would say like whatever you're going through, if it's like happiness, sadness, or like anxiety or anything, like just know like it works out, and like you have to go through all of those like ups and downs to get to where you are. And it's going to be a really awesome journey. And even though sometimes it may not feel that way, like it will be awesome and it will be amazing. And just keep following your dreams and staying true to yourself. And yeah.
It's such good advice. And I think the adults need to hear that too. That's really important. So tell everyone where they can find the board at.
Yeah. So if you follow us on Facebook, or is Facebook even a thing? Like, are we doing that? Yeah. Okay, yeah, we'll do Instagram. Our handle is at the board local. Our website is theboardlocal.com, and you can find us. You can look at our pictures. And yeah, that's it.
Put it in order. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
They're great. Everybody, thank you, Jessie, for joining. I really appreciate it. And remember to follow us on Instagram and find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. See you next week.